Hello and welcome to Nintendo Voice, your voice for everything Nintendo. This is episode 110, recorded on the 10th of October, 2017. My name's Lewis Pugh, and joining me to talk Nintendo, we have Harrison Milfeld.
Hey, 110 episodes, you could say, and I'm going to be killed for saying this. We're giving it 110% today.
We are also giving something else away later on, and we also have a Colin Crompton.
Hello, you do have one of me. Yes, 110%, folks.
The one,
110%.
The other 119 Collins are standing just out of camera view. Please don't shift the camera. The audience may be alarmed, including myself. I may have to stop my hosting duties if I see such a theme. We do have a special show for you, not just because I am yet again in a hotel, because as I said, that's yet again. We do have a Super Nintendo Classic Mini to give away. I have names in here for all our very supportive Patreon people. On the video, you should be able to see lots of names in a bag. I should let you know though, if you are watching live and you have yet to support us on Patreon, please do. And the rule is going to be, if you do support the Patreon during this show and you let us know on the live chat, we'll validate that before the end of the show, before we do the giveaway. And if you do that, we'll chuck your name in the hat as well, or in the little Pikachu bag, I should say, and you shall be in for a chance. So that's patreon.com/Nintendo Voice, $1 or more, and you can win yourself a Super Nintendo Classic. It's as simple as that.
Yes.
And we're going to do that at the end of this show. But we do have some wonderful features to go through before we get to that. And we're going to start off with some what we've been playing, and we've got some Nintendo news. And then we're going to go straight on to the giveaway. And we're going to let the super topics resume next week. And I've got a bunch of stuff to talk about on the what we've been playing.
You want to dive into that first?
If you don't mind, I want to start with something first, and then I'll let
that's cool.
Some other people talk, and we'll probably jump back to myself if that's okay.
Please indulge us.
Okay, well, the first thing I want to talk about is something which I only played today, and it's not a new game by any means, and I got a poor thumb because of it as well.
Whoa.
What?
Exactly.
I haven't seen a thumb like that. Well, part of a hand like that since the first Mario Party.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say Mario Party. Yeah.
Not that far back. So it's a generation beyond that. So on the GameCube, there was a game which had a similar effect, especially if you're given a controller where the rubber's gone on the analog stick. So what I found myself playing today was Super Smash Bros. Melee.
That was not my guess. My guess was going to be something tough, Ikaruga, but that was obviously not the case.
No. So I found myself in a kind of a small Smash Bros. Melee tournament today. Didn't do very well. Didn't do very well at all. But it was a very fun evening. Play some friendly matches afterwards. I wouldn't necessarily as far as I got destroyed. I lost my matches. I managed to get the opponents down to like a couple of stock. But these were some hardcore Melee fans. They know their techniques. They know their wave dashing and their L cancellings and their.
Oh man!
There was these other terms I was picking up. I was like, "Ow!"
What does this mean?
You guys have not stopped playing this game, which is cool. But it was awesome to be just kind of absorbed, like everyone playing the same game, especially on a GameCube game, and just seeing all the CRT set up, and it was fun times. I wanted to talk about that first, and it's also where I got a little Pikachu bag today.
Awesome.
So I didn't have any hats with me.
Didn't have any hats. But I have to say, it was going back. It's been a while since I played Melee, and of course, I know we have as far as the standards with like people with the tournaments, it's such a main tournament's mainstay, but also you can definitely see people who are just staunch supporters of just Melee and they don't care about any other iteration.
Any other one, yes.
Well, I mean, I know that's very small contingent, but I feel like that's the case in some ways. But it's definitely one where the hardest of the hardcore when it comes to Smash players. So, but I guess what I'm getting to is, who did you main as this time around?
Oh, can I guess? Can I guess?
Of course you can.
Peach.
It was a Peach, yes.
Oh.
Boom. He's a Peach man. He loves Peach.
I am. The problem was, I guess, at least in my mind, because I hadn't played Melee in so long, and I obviously had played Brawl, and I've played quite a lot of the Wii U and the 3DS versions. I'm not sure it was a good or bad idea, even going with my traditional main, because the problem is like Peach is very similar to Melee Peach, but the mechanics are different enough that it especially without having much prep time, it really kind of fools you. It's like, oh,
it throws your timing just slightly off.
Yeah, and like just certain moves are different as well. And yeah, like just the timing and the feel of the game is different. And when it's like a character you're very familiar with, I think that might throw you off. Maybe I would have done better if I just chose a character that I haven't played with recently.
Yeah,
I might have had a bit. Either way, it was a fun evening, and we've got a little Pikachu back. So I have been playing some other games, but I first want to check with everyone else. So Harrison, what have you been up to?
Well, I finished 2 games, both of which, one of which I finally got around after a short delay. But I will start off with I finished and I recently reviewed Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minions. I had just reviewed that for Pure Nintendo. Gave it a 9 out of 10. Obviously, it's even with the fresh coat of paint that it's on the game itself, it surprisingly has aged well. So I really do want to say, like, if you were a fan of that original, or you felt like the series has kind of been going stale, or a little bit of a downward trajectory in terms of like quality, please do pick this up. Now, in terms of the Bowser's Minion Quest, which is called Minion Quest, I got a little bit of enjoyment out of it, whatever, but it does feel, I wouldn't say shoehorned in. I mean, it's only accessible once you're in game. Like, it's early on, but you're able to jump in and out any point of like the main adventure. But the way I could say is like the combat, it's strategy and has a sense of more rock paper scissors. So
there's an element of luck.
A bit on there, but you have 3 different types. You have flying. What was the types on there? But it was like you would have like these different types of and my mind is blocking right now. But you would have flying, melee, and ranged. You have ranged, melee, and flying. So these are the types of ones, and you're essentially taking control of just one Goomba, which is called Captain Goomba, and of course you'll have like different baddies and stuff for the whole Mario universe, like Shy Guys, Boos, and whatnot. Cool. So it's and the best I can say to it is it's a nice little distraction, but it is relatively short. So I get to it. But the thing is, when I go back to this game, like Mario and Luigi, even when you're just reading through the dialogue, and some that I remember and some that I just didn't care for, but still, it's so funny, though. I mean, that's the one thing I liked about series, even especially at Paper Mario, is just the humor for it. It takes that whole Mario series beyond just, it's Plumber saves the princess from this, yada, 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 but also, here we go, we have some character within this. That's what I get really totally. But if you have a chance, do pick it up. It's great. It really is a wonderful time to actually be had. So, other than that, I did finish Samus Returns. I have not 100%ed it.
Man. Have you taken down every Metroid then? You done the Metroid?
Yeah, I've taken down every Metroid. Of course, ending, I had the infant Metroid at the end, following me to Samus' ship, but also there is a surprise at the end. I don't want to give it for anybody who's out there. But I did know recently, I felt bad for people who were watching the Nintendo World Championships. They did get spoiled by a boss fight while watching that. So, and I'll discuss some more of that. So this one, it's like overall, I had to commend Mercury Steam for pulling off such a dang good job with this remake, and one that I really hope injects enough, fuel into the fire that is Metroid to actually, I don't want to say Nintendo to care for, but to reach beyond other people who aren't just not the hardcore following for this.
You're looking for like a fire.
Yes,
Crazy Echo game.
Oh, Crazy Echo, yeah. But no, I know what you're saying, Colin. It's like you want something like that's what Awakening had. It was you're given this mandate of like, this has to sell this amount of titles. If it doesn't, this is shelved forever. But I don't know. I think this is more to see where 2D traditional Metroids go now. Is there still a place for it? Because we still have the Prime 4 coming out right now, and let's figure out how that's going to fit in the whole spectrum of like popularity in terms of sales and what it's going to do to the franchise. Here, though, it's just a finely tuned, it's a finely tuned Metroid experience. And for anybody who is, whether you like Zero Mission, Super, Fusion, and whatnot, you owe it to yourself to pick it up. It really is that type of an experience that even Metroid, non-Metroid fans could enjoy. Fans of Metroidvania, for instance, would love. So, I haven't 100%ed it yet. I'm going to go back and do that. And but again, I mean, people have to tend to realize how important kind of Metroid 2 is in the whole series. How it's the instigator. It leads to basically the cause of almost like 3 storylines in 3 different games. You know, it directly leads to creating Super Metroid, and of course, its callbacks or whatever happens is directly involved with Fusion, and even portions of it is still directly involved with Other M. That it just shows, even as the Game Boy original was often known as a black sheep, knowing how that's ending and with the Infinite Metroid and how important it is in the series chronology. But I mean, I could go on so much, but still, it's like, if you haven't picked it up, pick it up, please. Support this series. So that's what I've been playing.
I feel Harrison's talking directly to both of us here.
But this is my sales pitch to you. Do you want 2D? Do you want 2D Metroid to continue, or would you rather it just sit here and die, and the next thing you know it, we're just going to get a bunch of Kirby games? I love Kirby, but I feel like we could sacrifice one Kirby game for Metroid. I know I'm making a very weird direct correlation.
Yeah.
I'm just saying
let's get Hal making the next Metroid.
What do I say? What?
Let's get Hal Laboratories making the next Metroid game. That's how it works.
Well, Samus with copy abilities. Okay, I got you.
That'd be kind of cool. I'll play that.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's just
Metroid Dream Course. I'm fine with that.
Metroid Dream Course.
Samus has a ball, and you can go on the golf course.
No.
Or it's just
it's
a Kirby's Dream Land remake, and it's Kirby dressed up with a Samus helmet. That's it.
Okay, there we go. That's a nice compromise.
That's my pick.
I am very much meaning to pick up Samus Returns. It's really that 3DS factor. If it was a Switch game, I would have been there like day one. It probably midnight. For some reason, I've simply not picked up my 3DS since, and I know there's a few games I'm needing to pick up and play on the 3DS.
Do you feel like, though, I mean, with the 3DS still selling slightly well, but we'll see how that is with the upcoming holiday, but you just have the sense that some people haven't really been picking it up or that much just because there's just so much to offer right now with the Switch.
Yeah, definitely.
But I feel, I mean, I've not actually seen numbers, but I feel Samus Return is doing okay. And I would actually be, I think most importantly, the critical reception has been very good for the game.
Yes.
So I would be surprised if Mercury Steam aren't already in negotiations or talks or just actually developing the next Metroid game already.
That'd be awesome.
As another side view game, the same sort of engine, but running on the Switch, but a unique game, not a remake. But yeah, I think that, again, not played it yet, but from what I've seen of it, I think that style would transition perfectly to a HD system, especially one which was portable and a console. But yeah, I don't think they're just going to take Samus Returns and port it. I think that will stay a 3DS game. So I am eager to pick it up and play it on there. If I thought it would, just be ported across, I would just wait. But I don't think that is going to be the case. But yeah, from the critical reception, I reckon we'll see another Metroid yet from Mercury Steam.
I hope so. And I know for some reason, it didn't do well in the UK. Or, I mean, it did moderately fine, but it was...
that'd be because me and Lewis have yet to buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
They usually only sell twice, so yeah, that could be it.
Congratulations. You just killed Metroid.
No! I will get it eventually. It's been, oh man, so many games I've been The backlog is crazy right now.
Oh God, it's your backlog is going to get insane once you pick up a Switch.
I know,
Colin.
right? I know.
That's going to make it worse, isn't it? So, Colin,
Yeah,
would you mind if I jumped in again
go for
and
it.
talk about another game?
You
This
can
is
interject.
more recent.
Okay.
This one, it's over here. I think it's mirrored. It's Golf Story though. On the
Ooh.
Switch. I don't believe
Now,
I've
this is
spoken about
interesting.
it on this show. Exactly. And so, Golf Story, if you hadn't heard, takes very heavy inspirations from Mario Golf on the Game Boy Color and the Game Boy Advance. And so it is a golf RPG. And even beyond that, the actual gameplay, kind of just the vibe of the game, certain mechanics feel like they have just been lifted, like in a very nice way,
Cool.
by Golf Story as such. So the story is a bit weird. I mean, it's very lighthearted and humor is a part of it, like Mario Golf was. And so you start off as a kid and your dad's teaching you to golf. And then like the story zips by, like, I think it's like 20 years.
Wow. Okay.
Wait, really? Huh.
And so you're an old, well, not saying old guy, you're an adult. And you have a phone call with this girl, and I'm not sure it's explicitly mentioned what the relationship is between the two. She's possibly an ex-girlfriend.
Right.
And basically, she's finding out that the main character returns to said golf club to continue his golfing dreams. And this doesn't please her. But you start your adventure anyway. And that kind of does set the tone for the game. And it's really quite cool. I mean, it's slightly, I'd say it's more open than Mario Golf was. So a lot of the time you're just kind of wandering around and you would talk to people and they'll give you like a little challenge. But it's not obvious like, oh, this is what your next objective is necessarily. You just kind of stumble your way into things. But that's quite fun. And I think a key thing which sets this apart is at any time you can just drop a ball on the ground and, and tee off. And because you're wandering around these golf courses, like, one, it's just good for practice. Like, you could just wander an obscure position, like, oh, I can see there's a hole over there. I wonder if I could take this shot. And like, it doesn't like change mode or anything. It's it's very swiftly, like the little golfing HUD just appears above it. But it is a really cool game, and I think most importantly, it does capture that vibe really well. So it's like just a fun game to just be inside, even though it is golf, which is what Mario Golf did really well.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're not a fan of the sport, there's something very charming about this game, and the graphical style was very nice. Like, very nice sprite work going on.
Yeah.
And it also takes
Exhibit
advantage.
A.
Like, there are some camera pans, like when you're actually in the golf mode, the camera will zoom out, and it's like, oh, okay, I wasn't expecting that. Like, normally sprite-based games just kind of stay static. The camera doesn't go in or out or anything. But yeah, I've probably put a few hours into this so far. Really enjoying my time. And yeah, I'm eager to play some more. This
is one of the games I'm looking forward to when I get the Switch. It really is. Yeah, definitely.
But
I love like Mario Golf. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think when I was describing this to a friend about Golf Story, because he had other people who were very interested in this, and I said, like, what is it? Well, it's, like I said, a combination of things like, the Game Boy Color, Mario Golf, and Earthbound, and he was getting like that vibe of how, like, oh, there's RPG elements like Earthbound, like this battle's like not necessarily, it just like it's got an isometric view and it has that pixel art style that definitely would remind you of Earthbound.
It has a feeling, yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's where I get to it as far as gameplay, and I'm that I was going to ask you too, Lewis, about how like you could just simply drop a ball and just play anywhere. Yeah. So
that is fun to do, and also like if you hit the ball into other characters, they will react. And like, depending on who you are, the first time it happened to me, it was an accident. But when you realise that's an opportunity, you're like, oh.
It's all day.
Yeah. And also we've got Mike the Poet in the live chat. Talking about Golf Story. Golf Story is so fun. The disc golf section can Yeah, something else.
So we had to censor something there? Okay.
No, not really. But I wanted to say, though, that reminded me, I've seen disc golf, but I've not actually got to disc golf yet. I'm not sure if I'm missing something obvious or it's just something which happens later on. But the disc golf people just won't let me join their club currently.
Not cool enough.
They're being very mean to me.
Oh, no.
Exactly.
Terrible.
It's terrible. But yeah, I mean, also, apparently it's got a 2-player mode, which
awesome.
I've yet to test out. I assume it's just actual traditional golf at that point.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it. If another player can just start wandering around, that would be pretty amazing. But I noticed on the eShop screen, it was 1 to 2 players. I was like, ooh. I have to report back on that one.
Always exciting.
We're going to test that yet.
Cool.
So Colin, what have you been up to recently?
I've been focusing on one game. One game that I was streaming. I completed it today. In fact, I completed it about 2 hours ago, maybe. So I finished Super Star Wars, right? Which I feel like is an achievement upon itself.
That is, yeah. I never beat Super Star Wars.
Well, I had to cheat a little bit because it was emulated. You can use save states, but I went from the game from start to finish. That game's hard. Let's get that out of the way. It is incredibly punishing as a side-scrolling game goes. And I've heard people say "Oh, it's so faithful to the movie." Not really.
Yeah.
It follows the events, but they add their own stuff into it. Like Luke's inside the sandcrawler. I was like, that never happens. And
there's a Sarlacc. There's a Sarlacc that you face in the beginning.
Right at the beginning, it's like okay, and it's really bizarre. The game itself isn't hard. The enemies don't damage you that much. It's more to do with there's so many instant death pits everywhere. It's even inside the sandcrawler. If you touch sand, it kills you. And Luke's on a whole planet of sand. How does he survive his day to day if he can't touch sand?
How does he survive, Colin?
Well, the reason they hate sand is because it gets everywhere.
Oh.
And the reason why they hate that so much is because it kills them.
But yeah, I mean, the first level, you're slaughtering Jawas left and right. You kill about 150 Jawas in the first level, and it's that never happened in the movie, did it?
It happened off screen. Well, not that. I mean, stormtroopers. I know.
To interject, live chat, Mike the Poet says, "Yeah, I don't remember the scene in Star Wars where Chewie walks around the cantina bar shooting people."
Exactly right. I mean, yeah, they
my
make
mind's a bit hazy about it, so it could have happened.
Yeah, trust me, it didn't happen. They make levels out of anything, even subtly, the whole cantina section. I mean, the movie spent 10 minutes there. And they're like, no, this is a huge event. You fight a boss inside it, and that doesn't even appear in the movie. It's
do they extend that music loop?
Yes. They play the canteen music over and over and over again. Which, I mean, the music actually is really well done. I mean, for 16-bit, it sounds incredible. And this is 1992. It's quite actually an early Super Nintendo game. I say early, it's mid-level. But yeah, it's they were really pumping the sound out of this thing, and it sounds awesome. You actually get the feel, the soundtrack, and everything. The way they do the text crawl at the beginning is directly lifted off the movie, word for word. I was that's really cool. And they got all the shots and stuff. So
7 was made for that.
Oh, absolutely.
Almost literally.
Absolutely.
There we go.
I would say they left a huge chunk of the movie out though. You get to the Death Star, and you do that level, and then you're doing the trench run. It's okay, it's very abrupt. It's you're leaving the Vulcan, and suddenly, you're back in the X-Wing. It's okay, there's nothing in between. But yeah, there's no real final boss. It's just you do the trench run, you blow up Death Star, and I guess the Death Star is the final boss in that regard. But
from the live chat for you, Colin.
Oh,
seeing as you completed the full game recently, Green Moblin asks, is the line "I've got a bad feeling about this" used at all during the game?
No.
No. No, there's no.
That's a missed opportunity.
Unless not in text or voice, obviously.
Yeah.
Just be
there are
text in a black
cutscenes.
screen.
I mean, there are cutscenes that are like still pictures with like descriptive text, like
like I've got.
Obi-Wan, yeah. It's something that's like, everyone walks into and talks to Han Solo, and that's it. It's like, okay. So I have started Empire Strikes Back. That first level, I've never died so much in one game. It's ridiculous.
That one,
the difficulty jump is huge. I mean, they ramp it up real quickly, real early on. It's like, here you go, and there's death bits everywhere. You fall down, you're dead. It's like
that one's you obviously you're with a Luke on the Tauntaun, right?
Yep, that's correct. Yeah. I've just reached the speeder section, so it's ridiculous. Yeah, it took me about an hour and a half to get through the first level, which, yeah. I will say this: original Super Star Wars, 3 lives, 3 continues. That's all you get. No passwords, no nothing. If you die 3 times, you use all continues, you go back to the game. It's like, and of course, it's death bits everywhere, so you burn through your continues like crazy, and ridiculous. Really is freaking hard. But yeah, Super Star Wars, awesome game. Really hard.
Hard, all that, hard, but so much nostalgic goodness. But
so,
I mean,
it's pretty good.
I was going to say, in kind of wrapping up, is it worth going back if you've never played it?
Yeah, absolutely, it is. I mean, like, it's a fun game. It's still fun. It controls really well. It's got great animations. The vehicle sections are awesome, especially the X-Wing battle. Where I mean, it's done better obviously in Rogue Squadron, but for 16-bit, it mirrors it pretty well. Yeah, I feel like it's worth going back to. It's just brace yourself for frustration. So that's about it.
I think that says it all.
Yep.
Has anyone got any more games to talk about?
That's it for me.
Harrison?
That has been it for me right now. I am just currently waiting for again, Golf Story, and I really, well, judging by your background there, Lewis, I'm trying to actually get my hands on.
There we go. Let me start speaking.
Well, that's Stardew Valley. Sorry, you had Sonic Mania in the back, whatever, in the TV. So
I did. Oh, I see. But we may have ruined the surprise. But seeing as you guys finished talking about your stuff, I've got one more game to talk about.
That I spoiled. Sorry.
Lewis has been busy.
I've been a bit busy, which is Stardew Valley for the Nintendo Switch. A game I've heard quite a bit about. I never played it at all before the Switch version, and I don't know how long I've played it for. I wonder if the loading screen will tell me exactly how long I've played it for. So either way, this is an interesting one because I've heard many, many good things about it, but I'm coming here to you now with mixed opinions about Stardew Valley.
Okay.
Exactly. I am 3.5 hours in.
All right.
And I'm on day 15.
Which is enough to form an opinion, I would say. 3.5 hours, definitely.
Oh, thank you, Colin.
No worries.
Because before the 3.5 hour mark,
your opinion is just thrown out the window.
Not even talking like with you, right? Just opinions. But yeah, like this is an interesting one. Like, I'm not sure if like Stardew Valley is meant to be a game where you need to kind of seek out more information, because I know some games are like that. Okay. And that doesn't make it a bad thing at all. And you can probably tell by the direction I'm going with this. I'm not necessarily super happy with this game, but I'm not writing it off, and I'm be more than happy to come back next week with like glowing positive feedback about Stardew Valley. But that's not where I am yet.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough hill to climb if you're not happy with it right now.
I'm not. It's not impossible, because it's getting a little better the more I play.
Okay.
But the thing about Stardew Valley, in my opinion, is like it does a weird mix of it. Like, it's not a game which it doesn't hold your hand, which is cool. But I find it tricky to gather the information I need to within the game, just to figure out what I need to do and how to do it. And it's again, like I know certain games like almost encourage you to explore outside of the game, and like there's wealth of knowledge, like even things like in Monster Hunter, for example, there's loads of stuff about the game which you kind of learn outside of it. But I feel in that case, there's still more resources, and it might just be things I've not found, and so on. But initially, in short, the experience has been quite frustrating, which is a shame because like the art style is really charming. I do like just kind of again, I like talking about golf. I like the vibe of the universe. I like the characters, but I found my first few days, and again, this might be intentional. I would like wear up my character's energy bar within like a minute.
Wow. Okay.
Exactly, and I was like, I would be just like staggering around, and you like really slow speeds. Like, all right, I'll just go to bed. Can't do that. It was too early. It's just like these things kept piling up. As like I'd pick up some items, then I'd be over encumbered.
Wow.
And it's like, oh, what do I? It's like this, like it's just frustrating circle of like I'm trying to do things, and then like a wall would be.
Let me do stuff.
I was like, all right, let me try something else. Be energized and excited. It's like, no. But the more I do play, the more I'm figuring out myself, and this might be the point, and it might be a problem because I feel this might be part of like this newish. It's not even that new anymore. Ish generation of games, which, and I could be terribly wrong here, but I kind of want to like bundle it in with like Minecraft and other like Terraria and those types of things. But only because I've not really touched those games at all. So that's my only suspicion why they might be related in that sense. And so yeah, it's an odd one. It is intriguing. It's got this cool art style. It also does have this weird mix. Like you can tell it's a PC game because like you move the right analog stick and this like mouse cursor appears.
Okay.
It's like that's my initial reaction to it. I was like, ooh, why is that here? I don't want a mouse cursor around in this game. And like sometimes it can be a little bit fiddly, and like sometimes I'm like, because you do have like analog movement. Sometimes I find myself like I want to interact with the thing in front of me, but I need to like slightly move across because it doesn't snap like a traditional retro game. And so it's got all these bizarre issues, but I'm gonna keep going with it. Obviously not indefinitely. I'll give it a few more hours, see if it wins me over, because I'm finally, and like I'm on day 15 here, and I finally, and people probably laughing at me if they've played this game before, I finally got some actual seeds planted, being watered, they're growing, but it took me forever, mainly because I was getting kind of distracted, and maybe that's a good thing, with like just the different things going on. And so let's talk about some more positive bits. So you do have like a kind of a loose a goal or achievement type structure or mission type structure, which is good because like that can point you in the right direction and give you a friendly push at least if you're not sure what you're doing, like myself. And so the first thing I think you are told to do, which is to introduce yourself to everybody. And I've still yet to finish that. I've got 2 people yet to find. And so
been there for over 2 weeks. It's like I'm talking to those people.
Yeah, well, it's quite a big place, really, which is like in its strength when you finally kind of got more confident with the mechanics of the game. And so that's cool. Like, although that's my first, like, you can like find new quests or new missions, as it were, like either by talking to people, you can find them on the board at the shop. And like I've done a couple. Like someone lost their axe, and I found their axe for them. And they gave me some money. And also, it took me for quite a while to realise. And just in case anyone's about to just jump in the Stardew Valley, and because they've not yet, like you have this like bin, like big like plastic bin looking thing next to your house. If you chuck anything that you want to sell, basically in that giant bin. At the end of the day, once you've gone to bed, you'll get money for it. I don't know if I missed a bit of text telling me that, but that seemed quite important.
Just like Rune Factory. If you ever played Rune Factory game, it's the same thing. Yeah.
Oh no, exactly. I've not. So maybe it's like some of these things are like having established in other games, and like you'll see that little plastic thing, and I go, okay. I'll chuck my stuff in there. I'll get paid overnight for it. I had no idea. But it's kind of been fun to get lost and confused and frustrated in a weird way. Just because the world is quite so charming, and there is a lot going on in it. Because like you can go off and do fishing. Like they've started talking about a cold crafting thing. I was like, I knew that was coming eventually.
Here we go. Yeah.
I was dreading that, but sure. But like one of the little things I'm looking forward to is, and I'm not sure if I'll be able to do this stuff without doing everything else, is there is like a kind of a relationship sim type aspect to the game, which looks quite cool because, you know, the characters are interesting in themselves. And so you can also give presents to people. But I think you've got a maximum of 2 tries for presents.
Oh.
And so I think I've wasted my 2 chances on this one unsuspecting polite girl when I gave us like some seaweed and something else I had in my pockets at the time.
I really like you. Have some seaweed.
And then later found out on the menu, like where you would have like hearts which fill up sort of thing, there's also like space for 2 presents, and they were both filled in. It's like,
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Probably should have gave her the seaweed. I thought I would have presents to give throughout my times as a farmer. Yeah, so it's mixed reactions from me currently. There's positives and there's definitely negatives as well. I will report back more on Stardew Valley next week.
Okay, cool.
See if it wins me over, or see if I'm giving up on farming.
Break down and cry over it.
Yeah. I just want to read another update on the live chat. Again, Mike the Poet. So thank you once again. From what I've heard from the fellow Infendo members, Stardew Valley is essentially Harvest Moon and or Rune Factory, which makes me wonder why people are so excited about this game when it's just those.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, it's like just a bigger version of that. Like the systems are more complex, or
It's got a crafting system.
Yeah,
I mean,
I guess nothing
kind of has that, but not really.
I'm not dabbled in. There is like I'm not sure how light or not this is, some sort of like dungeon crawling part to this game.
Mm-hmm.
You can like dig yourself down this like mine shaft, and I'm guessing there's monsters at some point which you can attack with. I'm not sure it's just your farming equipment or not.
Get a shovel.
But there is that set up.
Yeah.
Yeah, for now that's Stardew Valley for me. So shall we jump into some Nintendo news?
Yeah, so
Go for it.
Go for it. Let's do it. Let's news us.
News us, because after the news, and I'll do one more little shout out for this. If you've jumped into the live show since we've began, missed the intro. If you haven't yet and you want a chance to win the Super Nintendo Classic, there is still time. Not much though. By the end of the news, if you chuck us any support on our Patreon, which is patreon.com/Nintendo Voice, let us know in the live chat and we'll validate that. We'll add your name into this little bag, and we'll pull one out at the end of the episode, and that person wins Super Nintendo Classic.
Get on it.
However, let's jump into the news. And the first thing we got, the top of the news, is the Nintendo World Championships 2017. It's now over. A winner has been chosen. Is risen from the ranks.
They chosen. I don't think they've chosen. I think was up to the task. Yeah. So, did either of you watch the World Championships? Yes.
I missed it, unfortunately. I wasn't able to watch it, but I will go back and watch it. I feel like the World Championships don't have the same mystique as it used to. It seems, and that's like a semi-regular thing. I don't know. Was it up to the usual standard of the World Championships?
Yeah, it was not such a bigger venue on there.
Okay.
I was expecting something that was like at the the Nokia Theater in LA by the convention center where E3 is held. But this one is held in New York in a much smaller venue, but still is quite a bit of a packed house there, and the fanfare and the atmosphere were just quite eclectic from what I could see from the live stream. But overall, I think I like this one just a smidge better, just a bit. I mean, even though we didn't see many surprises there, except for maybe once, but on overall, though, I thought I liked it a lot. Good little celebrity actions people were competing, and I especially loved the grand finale, which was surprisingly tense.
Cool.
Yeah, and our winner, I'm not sure we did mention our winner, but Thomas G was the crowned the winner for this one, who beat out the last winner of the World Championships of 2015, John Numbers. So
that's awesome.
So yeah, I've not had a chance to watch it yet. I assume it's all archived. It's something I will. It's the sort of thing that Saldal Lewis will watch when he gets some time. But I've got the list of games here, and there's some surprising entries. I want to go off the. Actually, I'll quickly go through them. So they started off with Breath of the Wild, Shield Racing. Then they went on to Balloon Fight, and then there was some Super Smash Bros. For Wii U.
Okay.
Then we had Bird and Beans.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
Which, by the way, is available in the eShop now.
Ooh, was that the same then?
Yeah, 3DS eShop. So it was, and you did miss on. I think you missed on round 1. You mentioned how there was Shield Racing, which that was a nice entry that they could put in there. But they had home run contest for Smash Bros. Wii U and Metroid Samus Returns, which was the new boss, like the new mid boss in the game, which probably when I mentioned about Samus Returns, how there's a slight little cinematic at the end when you beat it. That's the boss I'm talking about. Watch out for that one.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But anyway,
yeah, that was all in round 1, and then after Bird and Beans, we had some Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. We had some Donkey Kong Country Returns. We had some Splatoon 2 Tower Control, some Tetris, some ARMS, some Mario Party 2. Think of the thumbs.
This is a very eclectic set of games they chose.
Yeah, and then for the grand finale, we had Super Mario Maker Race, Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. That's on the Game Boy Color, I believe, and Super Mario Odyssey to end the things on.
Okay.
Now, Lewis, did you catch when they were playing Tetris how you would think, okay, judging by some of these people that were kids that were probably, I had to assume they did grow up with Tetris, but for a while when I watched them there, some were having really hard time playing. I was like, this is...
The house is like, what are you doing?
What am I doing? No, it was like, I was just getting visibly mad to a point. I'm like, you should know how to play this. Tetris, I feel like, is a universal puzzle game that everybody knows how to play.
And I guess that's kind of the point of the Nintendo World Championships, is because you have this wide selection of the games. You do get, to be fair, most people who play games have like a selection of games that they're comfortable with and that they play, and they will seek out games similar to that. But we've got such a huge range. Like, I could easily see a modern gamer, as it were, who plays a bit of Mario or maybe plays some FIFA or whatever, but has never touched Tetris and has no interest in going back on it. But yeah, because of this, like, in the same way, I like Tetris is like this such a huge, well-known thing. But like chucking it in amongst ARMS and Splatoon 2 and Breath of the Wild and Samus Returns is, I feel, where it's going to be something obvious, like seemingly obvious, like Tetris, you're going to find a stage which is like, oh dear, not this game. I should know how to play this game better.
I'm trying to think as far as one of the best ones I thought was a great addition. I did like how they brought back Donkey Kong Country Returns with the minecart level. But I was actually shocked they didn't use Tropical Freeze, though. Yeah. That was one that I really feel like Tropical Freeze is just a step above Returns.
Returns.
Return. There's that. And I think I love the choice of Mount Wario they did for the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because I believe musically, I love that level because of how, when you look at its music, how it's 3 different variations of it through the stage, through each section or lap of the stage. So, and
cool. We have our podcast intro music, folks. There we go.
Each one. No, I really liked this. I really did. It was just so much fun to watch, though. And to me, after getting through it, it was just a nice celebration of the company, but also just to kind of remind of, you have all those people to get together. You know, it could be a fickle fan base, but people just to get together and just have so much fun just watching people compete.
Yeah. That's cool.
That is very cool.
I'd say, do you think we'll see this every year, or do you think we'll probably do something like, oh, it's going to be every 2 years? Because I sense the latter, because that way you have newer games coming out.
Yeah, I say 2 years.
Yeah, I could see this being due every 2 years. If not,
I'm going to go with every year.
Really? You think they're going to ramp it up?
Yeah, because I don't think it necessarily needs to be a grand production as such. Like, I think they could do this once a year, and like on the kind of that sort of clip right there on with like Switch releases. I feel like they see this as like a good marketing tool, just good, to get people talking about Nintendo and keeping them in the focus of like not just competitive gaming. That helps, but just seeing that crowd playing Nintendo games and that relevancy of everything.
Yeah,
I reckon it could be the plan. Have it yearly for a while at least during the Switch generation. I feel it's kind of goes nicely together.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, in a ways, I could probably, well, I'm trying to think. Basically, yeah, if you have it every 2 years, it would actually give it more better like marketing for like the fall coming. So
yeah, I feel like every 2 years, more like kind of more behind it, more make it more epic. It's like you need to gear off, and the next year, like here comes the World Championships again. Which, by the way, they need to make it global.
Yes,
to make it a World Championship, because having it just in North America does not make it a World Championship.
This is true, and also a little bit of transparency on how the frequency, whether it's going to be yearly, 2 yearly, or 4 years, or whatever. If you set that present up front, then people can get excited for it, and they can build up hype around that as well.
That's true, yeah.
Okay. Should we jump into our next bit of news? It's somewhat related. So I'm not sure it was during or after, but somehow connected to the Nintendo World Championships, Nintendo showed a new trailer for ARMS, specifically around a new ARMS update 3.2, which is coming out later this month. And so from what we've seen on the video, it kind of shows two main things. And the first is seemingly like a new mode, or a new feature as such, which is badge stash. And this looks kind of like an achievement system, where you would earn badges on obviously certain achievements, and you would build up this collection. So I guess it's not too far off how like Smash Bros has, and I guess Kid Icarus Uprising has handled that type of system. But yeah, it looks like that's coming as an update, later this month, which is pretty cool. And we've also had this tease as such, because they've not gone out and labeled it as such, but it looks like a new character-ish, which is like some sort of almost robot version of Springman, the main character, arguably.
Okay.
But I'm kind of curious. Is it going to be as simple as it's a new character like Evil Springman, or if it's just going to be part of a mode or part of this badge stash system, where it would be like, all right, like in Smash Bros, how you would fight a giant Yoshi sort of thing.
Yeah.
But he's not a character in himself. Like I wonder if it's
like a metal version. Also, yeah.
Exactly, or a metal version. Like I wonder if it's just a modifier for a certain mode, or it is just an actual new character. Like Evil Ryu in
Ultra,
the final fight, or whatever it's called.
Friend of the show, Mike McSturdy, compared saying like, man, Sector actually looks really good for ARMS. So I thought that was a very nice little joke there.
Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, I mean, keep the free ARMS updates coming though. This is really cool.
Yep, I'm looking forward. I'm hoping this gets a little more steam coming up a little bit. So, but yep, I'm wondering how this is and ready to see the character lineup continue to grow.
Definitely, yeah. I'm very much. I think I'm looking more to the that badge stash mode than this character in itself. And in the consciousness of time, I'm going to jump to our last piece of news.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Nintendo has filed a trademark for the Game Boy Classic. And from looking at it, it looks quite similar to these rather recent trademarks of the Super Nintendo and the Nintendo Entertainment System. And so, what could this possibly mean? Maybe there is a Game Boy Classic on the way.
This gets me excited for one thing, and it's got nothing to do with the Game Boy Classic. This gets me excited that potentially this means that later down the line, we could get a Game Boy Advance Classic. And that does excite me. But Game Boy Classic would be awesome.
But
absolutely.
I have to ask, though, where does it usually... I mean, you're going... Okay, because this is off the heels we know that Nintendo retrademarked the N64. So we know that's initially coming at some point. Obviously, there's going to be some questions of, like, how many controllers is this going to include? What are they going to do with Rumble? What are they going to do with several rare games, which they can't put on there? Which,
they
of course,
can't use...
Yeah, and I think that would be a good discussion probably later on, a later podcast of, like, how many games do you think would be feasible on a N64 Classic without being kind of just too bloated? But for the Game Boy here, I'm having aside from a few Pokemon games, Mario Land, Wario games, Link's Awakening, there's plenty of option out there, but as far as memorability is like third-party material, it's that's where it kind of gets a little bit difficult in deciding what you want. Unless
pretty sparse.
Yeah, I guess it really depends how they divide it up. Is it going to be just Game Boy Classic games, or are they going to use this for Game Boy and Game Boy Color games?
Color, yeah.
Because either way, at kind of the end of life, or like basically, there's Game Boy had a few generations in that sense, like before Pokemon and after Pokemon, and there were some really more complex games, after Pokemon released. There was loads of JRPGs. There were some Pokemon copies, but there's like a really cool Metal Gear Solid game on the Game Boy Color.
There is. I forget about that one too. So
Ghost Babel.
Is it? Yeah,
it's got my name.
And that would give an
Mario Golf we were just talking about.
That's
Game Boy Color. You can have some weird things like it might be a bit of Pokemon Overload, but there's some good Pokemon spin-offs. There's a good Pokemon Pinball as well.
There's Puzzle League too.
You have to go to Pokemon Pinball.
No, not a fan of Pokemon Pinball?
No.
Well, you wouldn't be able to...
I thought that had its fans.
Well, here's the thing. How would you include that knowing that it's based on motion?
Oh, the Rumble, you mean?
Rumble and the motion. Yeah, that's what I say. You would have to get to that. Yeah, I think. But there is also... this could give a reason to actually put... And this is a rare physical copy to find, but it's easily available on the Game Boy... Well, the Game Boy Color Virtual Console is the original Shantae. That could be a possibility.
And also, it would be... I doubt this will happen, but imagine if they had Game Boy camera built into the thing. It wouldn't have to be the giant lump at the top, because cameras are tiny now. What if it was built in? That would be cool. You're buying it for the retro novelty. Maybe not the printer, but maybe you could, I don't know, plug the Game Boy Classic up to a computer and just get the files off of it or something. I think there's lots of things you could do with a Game Boy Classic. Either way, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and also you have to decide what design do they go with? Do they go with the original brick? Do they go with color version?
Oh, it has to be a brick. No, it has to be a brick.
With
classic.
But
I reckon it's it looks like the brick, but it's actually thinner than a pocket was. But just having it if you're looking on the face of it, it looks.
I mean, if it's going to be called a mini, then yeah, if it's a Game Boy Mini Classic, then I guess so. But
I don't know. There's a lot. There's things for me to be this is. I understand why they do this, but also, is there room for it aside from nostalgia? I know that you have a use for hey, plug in and play these a Super Nintendo or an NES into your TV, but when you in a world dominated by smartphones, and of course then you have things like what we have a 3DS, it's a matter of how can this actually be fitting into it? But there's a lot of questions I want to ask for something like this, where, like I said, what's its design going to be? Is it just going to be original Game Boy, or is it going to be color, or is this going to be?
Is it going to have the pea green screen?
Or the black and grey type.
That's right.
But yeah, I think either way it's gonna be cool, and it's also mirroring what's happening on the chat as well. But just having a thin, light, rechargeable backlit with a selection of really, good Game Boy games. I think that would be a cool system. I think that would be more arguably desirable for myself because I kind of was raised on the portables more so than the consoles. That's a more of an attractive proposition for me. So, yeah, I'm very eagerly looking into just what they're going to do with this because it's not as clean cut as like when we heard about the Super Nintendo Classic after the Nintendo, the NES Classic was a thing.
Mm.
All right, I think it's our time though.
Yeah, I believe it is that time for what's that big thing?
That little giveaway we're doing. 2 last-minute entries, so I don't have to scramble around and write more names on strips of paper.
I have a question. I have a question for you, Lewis. Exactly how many names are in that bag?
How many names? There's a few names.
I was gonna say, are there more than 2?
No. It's are the names just going to be a bunch of piece of paper where it's like, oh, it's Lewis Pugh. Oh, I win my Super Nintendo Classic again.
Yeah, I did think about that. After we've pulled out the winner, do we have to pull out a second one just to prove they're not all the same name?
Maybe.
But then, is that like, oh, sorry, Mr. Michaels, you.
So wait, we actually had 2 new entries in there.
No. There's this is the same number of entries as at the beginning of the show. No one took us up on our last minute suggestion. I do want to quickly find out how many we have there.
But this is what it's come to. We're giving out our first Patreon giveaway.
Yeah, there will be more.
Here we go.
This is the first.
All right.
Well, while I'm rummaging, the numbers are coming up. We have to get someone else to do the countdown as well.
Oh.
I can do it.
Yeah.
What do you want to count down to?
All right.
From?
Well, it's up to you.
50.
50, yeah. We'll be all there. Okay.
When you're done. There's essentially about 20 names in here. So not.
I'll count down from 5.
All right.
You ready? Here we go.
Yeah. Well, when you stop counting, I'm going to pull one. I'm like
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Here we go.
And
one fell out. We'll use the fell out, I guess.
Wait, no, you got to give that one. You got to buy another one for that person because it fell out.
Person is Ron Ordis.
Ooh!
Oh, congrats!
Congratulations, Ron. A Super Nintendo Classic. And
there you go.
We do have your details, so I'll be getting in contact with you, so I know where to post it. And
sweet.
Yeah, we'll work that out. But yeah, congratulations, Ron, and thank you everybody for supporting us.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah,
do we want to see any more names for any proof?
For proof. Why not?
Sorry, Brandley Nelson, you were our second pick. Let's do a third, just to
be sure.
Some sort of sense. Marvin Junior, apologies to you too. You were just all for authenticity. Just so people know this.
No runner-up prizes, I'm afraid. So I'm sorry.
Well, unless you want basically my unopened copy of Fire Emblem Echoes Amiibo, a game that I don't own yet. I know. I got the Amiibo because that'd be rare. So.
They're not rare?
They're hard to come by. Those.
Okay.
That particular 2-pack. But congratulations, Ron.
Ron.
So you were the winner. Or as a classic Nintendo English name, a winner is you. A winner is you.
Winner is you.
Awesome. All right. So again, thank you everybody for supporting us. If you are enjoying the shows, please do continue to do so. We'll have some more giveaways in the future, but we'll also have some more surprises on that side. So do tune in next time to find out what some of those are. We might have some of those ready.
Mm-hmm.
But that is going to do it for today's show. It's a bit short and sweet. But hopefully next week we'll be back into more comfortable homes. We don't have to worry too much about making too much noise. People barging in to go, why are you recording a podcast? I am trying to sleep. However,
I'm in a hotel. Come on.
On that note, this has been Nintendo Voice. Thanks for listening.
Hope to see y'all go soon.
Yeah, take care, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.